Are you experiencing a high bounce rate to your website? If you are, that means you're losing traffic, and lost traffic absolutely equals lost sales. So in this video, I'm gonna take you through 5 different ways to improve your bounce rate. And by the end, you're gonna have a better bounce rate, meaning a lower bounce rate, and higher sales. So the things I wanna talk about are design, message clarity, path clarity, page speed, and how you're going to recapture people that are getting ready to leave. So if you're excited about this, make sure that you like this video, make sure that you sub, make sure you hit that bell, all the things, and let's get started. So let's first start off with understanding what a bounce rate is. So the bounce rate is the number or the percentage of your traffic that's leaving or showing disinterest right off the bat. So this could be anything. It's not just looking at how many people come to the page and then leave right away, though that is a big factor. It also could be just them coming to your page and then idling, right? So they show up to your page, they don't find what they're interested in, they go to another tab, or they just walk away from their computer. That counts as a bounce as well. So it's really important here that you use this to understand how to capture people's attention and keep it. But it's also not realistic to expect that 100% of your traffic is gonna come to your site, be super interested in what it is that you have to say, causing you a 0% bounce rate. That doesn't happen, right? So I would say that a good bounce rate is anywhere between 30 and 60%. Anything below 30%, and it tells me that there's something wrong with your setup, so you probably need to figure out if you have the analytics tracking code on every single page. If you're using WordPress, this is really easy, it's just a plugin. If it's too high, then something tells me that you're really losing people based on some messaging that you have outside of your web page. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but this is really valuable first to understand this range, because if you're in that 60%-ish range, you should pay attention, but you're probably okay right now. So design. Design is not only about giving them what they want, but giving them what they expect. So they expect a clean design that's easy to understand, right? So people can understand what the flow of the page is and how to get from point A to point Z very easily. So what does this mean? Modern design trends say that we want kind of soft corners and easy visuals that are clearly related to the text that's on the page. We'll get to the text in a minute. But we want to make sure that what you're saying and what you're selling are very clearly related. So what the design looks like is going to matter for this. It also is a question of how to keep them engaged. So bigger text sizes are going to keep people more engaged. Clearer messaging and simple messaging is going to keep people more engaged. More buttons on the page will always help. And you want to make sure that you're keeping it as minimalistic as possible. Keep it simple, stupid. Simpler is easier, simpler is better for understanding. And once they can understand how to flow through the page more easily, they're much more likely to flow through the page, right? Because if you get to a page like this one, that's almost impossible to understand in the first 10 seconds that I always talk about, then it's much more likely that you're gonna leave, right? I gotta tell you, if I wasn't here to find a bad web design, I would have been off this thing in 0.2 seconds. I never probably would have even clicked, it's so bad. But if you look at this page, which is one of my old clients, I respect this guy a lot. I think he's got an awesome product. You see the product right up front, right away. But it's also got a picture of somebody in the background that you can relate to, right? So you now understand this product is related to this kind of idea. And then as you move down the page, it's much easier to follow because there's these switching rows that dance from side to side, and the text is related to the imagery. And so you're gonna see that it's much easier to understand, and you're much more enticed to click on a page like this than you are on a page like this, where you're not even sure where the links are. I mean, it's super bad. So think about this design and how you're having people flow through the page as the first step, because if you can engage people with that very simple, easy to understand design, you're much more likely to entice them to continue on. Okay, so message clarity. You want your message to be very clearly laid out on the header section as quickly as possible. This needs to be, super fast so that people get it all right off the bat. I'm talking 10 seconds, guys. Remember 10 seconds. That's always the most important thing here. And it's really important that this message makes it so that people understand what it is that you're selling right off the bat. Here's an example, for instance, of something that would be on the header section, but it's just really bad copy so you can understand. Here we go, I'll wait. Okay, so you saw that, right? You get it. that's really bad copy, right? and if it took you that long to even moderately understand what that was saying, there is no way that somebody who's visiting your website and has never been there before is gonna be interested in spending that same amount of time, right? So simple and clear right off the bat, and then as you move down the page, you can increase the detail. Because the people who are moving down the page and are not just clicking on the button and moving forward for the sale are gonna be the people who need to be warmed up a little bit more, right? So if you can increase that detail a little more, a little more, a little more as the page continues, then you're more likely to increase the sales because the people who are halfway down the page go, okay, I have enough detail now, I'm ready to make a purchase. And then they'll continue or they'll exit. But by having this message be very clearly laid out, you're gonna drastically decrease that bounce rate and increase the people who are moving through your funnel. All right, so path clarity. So this is all about making it really obvious where people need to go next. I don't wanna have to put the work in on your website to figure that out, and I'm not gonna do it. If you don't make it super easy for me to figure this out, I'm gone, right? So that means putting a lot of calls to action in and buttons all over the place to make it super clear where to go next. It also means telling people what to do in the copy. Hey, click on this button if you wanna get my new ebook. Hey, click on this if you wanna get a free consultation. Hey, click on this if you want a new product, etc. The point here is to make it easy because people are looking for any excuse they can take to leave a new website they've never visited before. Just think about the last time you were on a website you hadn't been on before, and I guarantee you, part of you was trying to figure out how to leave. Now, it might have not have been conscious, and that's okay, but you were still thinking, oh my God, I need to get out of here, right? But if something is happening that's enticing you to move forward, move forward, move forward, you're far less likely to leave. So the idea here is to make this path as clearly laid out and mapped out as possible. So what's the first step? Okay, where are people gonna go? They're gonna get the information here. If they wanna click to get the ebook, then they're gonna go through this funnel step, etc. If they wanna purchase directly, then they're gonna click this and then they're gonna go straight through the checkout. But in any situation, you're moving them through your page, which is reducing your bounce rate, and it's increasing not only the sales, but the likelihood for future sales. So try to think about how to map out this path. Just map it out on a piece of paper first, and then you'll be able to more clearly figure out where you need to go next. All right, page speed. So your page needs to load in less than 3 seconds. So this is all based on that 10-second rule, right? You have 10 seconds to impress someone, which means that every moment that it takes to load that page is a moment lost to impress them. And I don't know about you, but if you've had to sit on a website and wait for 6 seconds for it to load, to me it feels like an eternity. So make sure that you keep this thing loading as quickly as possible. How do you do that? You should probably go to GTmetrix to do this. So GTmetrix to me is the best service that I've found for this because it looks at page speed insights and why slow to get your score. And it'll give you a score between A to F for each of them. And then you can look at the detailed information for how to improve your page speed right there. A lot of the time, if you're getting a really low score, it's because your content, all of that media is loading directly in from your WordPress or your website, your FTP or whatever. And you should use something called a content management system to load that in externally. And if you're loading it in externally, it's allowed to just pull those source materials rather than have to load it up from your system and your servers directly. So it's really gonna save you a lot of time, kind of like how if you only have a few programs that need to be open when you start your computer, it's gonna load a lot faster than when you have 50 programs that you wanna load on start. So just think about this, look at your GTmetrix score, and I'm sure that you're gonna see how to fix this really quickly, but a lot of the time I'm just gonna tell you, you need a dev to help you with this. Final point, guys, let's talk about recapture methods. So there's one big recapture method that I wanna talk about here, and that is pop-ups. These are not pop-ups like those old Windows pop-ups that used to show up all the time and were just so annoying and you could never even close your windows. I'm talking about in-browser pop-ups. These things are mostly supported, though sometimes you get a little pushback on them. But there are certain ones that you should use and certain ones that you shouldn't. So the one that I always say to use is an exit pop-up. So this is when somebody is showing the intent to exit, when they're going up the page with their mouse and they're starting to exit. Once you get to that point where they're about to exit, there's a pop-up that says, hey, would you like to try a 14-day trial? Or would you like to sign up for our ebook or whatever? Something that either keeps them on the page for a little bit longer or at least keeps them in your ecosystem. And if you can put an exit intent pop-up up there, people are gonna be more enticed. But what slows people down and what gives them a less of an incentive to continue is if they're scrolling through the page and they're having a good old time, and either a timer pop-up shows up or a scroll length pop-up shows up. So that's either when they've been on the page for 30 seconds or they've gone 15% down the page, they get a pop-up. Those are so annoying, guys, because people haven't shown any intent one way or another. So what are you worried about? Are you worried that they're gonna bounce out of the page right then? They haven't, so why would you think that they're going to, right? So don't use these, because actually what you see is that the bounce rate increases when that happens. I don't know about you, but certainly me, when that happens, I wanna leave more quickly. I hate it. But an exit intent pop-up, I'm far more likely to be interested in, especially if it's actually catching me when I intend to exit, right? So try this out, try an exit intent pop-up. A lot of the time you can use a plugin on WordPress, or if you're using like lead pages, they have that built in. And that exit intent pop-up is gonna go a long way to keeping people at least in your ecosystem so that you can email them later or retarget them or whatever. All right, guys, so there you go. There are some really cool ideas for how to increase those sales and reduce that bounce rate as much as possible. It's really just about thinking about it from the user's perspective, not about what you think is cool. So looking at that data and how people are moving through those pages as much as possible to see where you can improve things. So if you like this video, make sure that you like, make sure that you sub, make sure that you hit that bell, make sure that you let me know what you thought in the comments, and I will catch you next time.